Hello YouTube, it's Sarah, and today I would like to share with you some of the series I am currently reading. I am going to cheat and use a actually a little Excel tracker sheet that I have here. I am not going to put pictures of all the books up. When I've watched videos like this of other YouTubers, I find it a little distracting because then I'm squinting at the screen trying to go, what's on that cover? That one. And so I will have links to all of the Goodreads pages, not for each individual book, but for each of the series in the description down below. Since there's a few series though, let's just get right into this. The first series is Legends of Dimmingwood by C. Greenwood. I've read the first book, Magic of Thieves. It was actually quite shorter than I would have expected, or at least it felt short. I mean, I was expecting it to be short because I listened to the audio version and it was only like 4 hours long. So I was expecting it to be short, but it felt short too. But I still was kind of interested in it, so I figured I'd continue with it. So it contains Magic of Thieves, Betrayal of Thieves, Circle of Thieves, Redemption of Thieves, Journey of Thieves, and Rule of Thieves. So there's 6 books. I've listened to 1. Next series is the Tamir series, and I am mostly done with this. The Tamir series is written by Naomi Novik. It's one of my favorites, I'd have to say. The books do tend to be a little slower and more drawn out, but there's some interesting conversations and battle scenes that make it worth reading, I think, my opinion. So the books in the Tamir series are His Majesty's Dragon, Throne of Jade, Black Powder War, Empire of Ivory, Victory of Eagles, Tongues of Serpents, which I actually think I just finished, that was the last one I read, Crucible of Gold, Blood of Tyrants, League of Dragons, and, not sure if I'm going to say this right, but Vici? It's V-I-C-I. This next series is Relic Seekers by Anita Clenny. And I actually found this thanks to Kindle Unlimited, where I was scrolling through some of their offerings and came across the first book, Guardians of Stone, and listened to it and enjoyed it. And the next books in the series are Fountain of Secrets and The Last Chalice. This next series, I was lucky enough to get the first book as an e-arc through NetGalley and totally enjoyed the book. And the series is named after the first book, which is Hunter by Mercedes Lackey. And Elite, the second book, just came out sometime last year, I think. I haven't read it yet though. Shocker of shocks, I know. And the next book, Apex, comes out September of this year, so I think I'm going to wait on Elite and I'll just read Elite and then Apex sometime the end of this year. And this next one, I might have to re-listen to some of these books because I listened to the first 2 books a few years ago. And this series is Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins, and the first book is Hex Hall, followed by Demon Glass, and then Spellbound and School Spirits. And this next series is probably the most daunting on my series that I want to read / am currently reading. and that is A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin, or as some people call it, the Game of Thrones series. I've read the first book, have like the next 4. I haven't read them yet though, because I know they're humongous. Even though I have them in ebook format, just the knowing that they're humongous is just kind of like, I'll go read this book. So, the series contains Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, A Feast of Crows, A Dance with Dragons, The Winds of Winter, and A Dream of Spring, which I think still needs a publication date. I don't think it has a publication date yet, but those are the 7 books in the series. This next series, I pretty much have checked out most of these books from my library. I've read the first, or listened to rather, the first 7. I have not listened to the 8th one yet. And the series is still ongoing. And this series is the Charlie Davidson series by Dorinda Jones. Charlie Davidson is the Grim Reaper in human form, and ends up falling in love with a son of the devil in human form. And basically demons are after them because of their relationship. And things just kind of are interesting in the book. And Charlie has some interesting lines. This series contains First Grave on the Right, Second Grave on the Left, Third Grave Dead Ahead, Fourth Grave Beneath, Fifth Grave Past the Light, Sixth Grave on the Edge, Seventh Grave and Nobody, Eighth Grave After Dark, The Dirt on Ninth Grave, The Curse of 10th Grave, and I'm out of fingers here, 11th Grave in Moonlight, and The Trouble with 12th Grave. This next series I'm sure everybody knows, The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I think it's Meyer. Anyways. The series contains Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter, with a few side story novellas, but those are the main stories. Next we have Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This series contains Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, Dreams of Gods and Monsters. Next we have Scarlet Bernard by Melissa F. Olson. This series follows Scarlet Bernard, who is a null, and a null basically nullifies the powers of the supernaturals around her. A witch, it lessens their abilities to do magic. A werewolf is basically no longer a werewolf, and vampires are suddenly alive again and need to breathe. But she basically goes around cleaning up the messes that the supernatural create, and gets herself into trouble doing that. The books of the series are Dead Spots, Trail of Dead, Hunter's Trail. Next on my list is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Need I say any more? I'm sure you've heard a whole lot about this series from everybody, more or less, it feels like. Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, and 2 unnamed books to be released in 2018, I think, and 2019. Because the 6th one got pushed back. Anyways. This next one is another series by Sarah J. Maas, and it will be finishing this year, in fact next month, and I am so excited for this last book. I can't wait! Okay, anyways, we're talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, which contains A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and the next book, A Court of Wings and Ruin. This next series I started reading last year, I think, early last year. I have not gotten nor slash found really looked for the fourth book. I just know that my library doesn't have it. This series is the Chronicles of the Necromancer by Gail Z. Martin, which contains the Summoner, the Blood King, Dark Haven, and Dark Lady's Chosen. This next series is the Servants of Fate by Sarah Fine. I actually started this series because the first book, Marked, kind of caught my attention with the cover, and I looked into it and thought, hey, let me try that. So, the series contains Marked, Claimed, Fated. The next series that I'm currently reading and have not finished yet is the Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson series, which contains The Girl of Fire and Thorns, The Crown of Embers, and The Bitter Kingdom. This next series I started actually thanks to BookTube, and more specifically I think it was the BookTubeathon. I'm not sure which year, or I think it was one of the summer ones that I participated in, and the challenge was to read a favorite book of somebody else. So I went to one of my favorite YouTubers and looked at their favorites shelf on Goodreads and found Legend by Marie Lu, and I enjoyed it, but haven't picked up the other two books yet. The Legend trilogy contains Legend, Prodigy, and Champion. And this next one is a series that I basically listened to on audiobook and totally loved. It is done by like a full cast of characters, actors, and such. It is the Alumina Files by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. If you get the hardcover books, you can actually see the formats of the different documents. It's kind of like a dossier or investigative file put together in such a way that it tells the story. And yeah, it's very entertaining. This is the one audiobook. I haven't listened to Gemini yet because I know what to expect now, and so I want to find some time that I can just focus on the book. Because while doing reading Illuminae, listening to, I guess, I couldn't do anything else. I melted because I was trying to unfreeze the water line in the freezer / water dispenser doohickey. I melted where it actually dispenses a little bit, so now instead of shooting down, the water kind of shoots out at you. Because I wasn't paying attention, I was listening to the book and totally enjoying it. Anyways, the Illuminae Files contains Illuminae, Gemini, and just recently announced Obsidio. And I've seen on Twitter, if you go out to the website or something, and for, I think it's Jay Kristoff's website, you can sign up with a special permissions that they can use you basically in Obsidio and kill you. If you wanted to be mentioned in a book. This next one I briefly talked about in my February wrap-up, I think it was, when I went back and read the first book, because I kind of found this by starting in the middle. This series is the Kate Daniels series by Ileana Andrews. It contains Magic Bites, Magic Burns, Magic Strikes, Magic Bleeds, Magic Slays. And I'm including it even though it's a half novel, but it's the one that I found. Gunmetal Magic. but it's 5.5. Magic rises, magic breaks, magic shifts, magic binds, and last I checked, there's a 10th book, untitled yet, that's to be released this year. This next one is another one that I started forever ago and really need to continue. The Graceling Realm by Kristen Cashore, which contains Graceling, which is the only book I've listened to, Fire and Bitter Blue. Then we have a series that requires no introduction, The Heroes of Olympus by Riordan. Not that I've been doing too much of a introduction on any of these, but it doesn't require an introduction really. It contains The Last Hero, The Son of Neptune, which ironically I've only listened to The Son of Neptune. Go figure why I didn't start at book 1. The Mark of Athena, The House of Hades, and The Blood of Olympus. And kind of on the same train, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Riordan. I can talk, really. It contains The Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. And browsing through my library one day, I found Omens, which is the first book in the Canesville series by Kelly Armstrong. It, so far, contains omens, visions, deceptions, betrayals, and, releasing in August of this year, rituals. And the last series I'm going to include in this. This series that I just found, I can't seem to stop talking about it, which is probably why I've talked about it the last few videos, I feel like. And that is The Dragon Rider Chronicles by Nicole Conway, which contains Fledgling, Avian, Traitor, and Immortal. So those are the series I am currently working on. If you have read any of these series or have any thoughts you'd like to share, maybe there's one that you think I should read over all the others, let me know in the comments down below. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video. TTFN!